so miraculous, so wonderful, so beautiful, so absolutely incredible. Very amazing, unique, very new edition of, and very new broadcast of Fire of Liberty. Wonderful, heavenescent co-creations, manifestations, and beauty in what is being co-created. Of course, we know, or all of us know, the entire universe is aware of universal love, universal connectivity, and the importance of how special it is to not only be united, which is amazing, in the physical, which we are, but to be, once again, the guiding light, that sort of beacon, and that sort of lighthouse, and that sort of awareness that is the consciousness development of supporting consciousness development and unity, love, throughout the entire universe. And what's amazing is, once again, there are occurrences that happen although all the time that are more coming up with more and more and more powerful and amazing and incredible incognito, which is amazing about incognito. Incognito, which is just one way, for example. Incognito connections with, and this is a very, very interesting subject I'm about to get on here, but with incognito connecting consciousness, which is the same thing. Bear with me. It's the same thing as, the same field. Because it's all, for example, love consciousness, but it all elevates in. So where am I getting with this? The amount of, one, manifestability, and as well as the combination of, love, light, and the actual physics and science that's behind it when it comes to fractal, for example, fractal physics, and to consciousness, or the law of consciousness, as well as to the literal examples and wisdoms and memos and diaries, for example, that are written, and explanations, and, for example, the interviews as well, to between our, for example, inner earth beings and surface world beings, as well as the connectivity between inner truth and light and the unique thing about our external reality is, once again, it's an amazing consciousness, and that's what's amazing. That's truly amazing, or I say the word amazing a lot, but multi-creationalistical, multi-universal awareness, consciousness, and development in the seed form, and in the multi-dimensional, super prevalent, ultimately multidimensional form as, a galactic being, which, for example, I like this example, which is, definitely the truth, but, for example, walking on a physical planet as the consciousness being that we are. So one thing of the truth is, for example, to have your star being incarnate on a physical plane, and the physical plane is not a physical plane, but a universal plane. Okay, so here's a bit of here's a bit of consciousness kind of awareness we've got going on here. So let's imagine, which is, in part definitely truth. So we have a fact of the matter. We have a fact. So okay, so what does it look like, for example, when on the physical plane, and there's many stars within our conscious body, within our our star being, within our for example, galactic presence. Galactic presence, for example, is monumental, and that galactic presence walks upon the planet. So we have multiple galactic presences walking on the planet. For example, it's our higher selves, which is capable of. I like the word capable. Has the ability. I'm talking really, really, really fast. So let's slow it down. Every physical incarnated being within that multidimensional aspect. One. Now, recognize the awareness of the multidimensionality within all beings. Now, imagine not recognizing the multidimensionality of the multidimensionality. So, every single physical being has multidimensionality, meaning every single, physical human being has billions of stars. Let's just go with that. Billions of stars. It is so incredibly massive, the amount of potential that exists. And I'm purposely doing incredible Les Mis terms for this explanation. Because I could definitely can go into the science about it. But the fact of the matter is, just the countless energy potentials. This is amazing because it's surreal to describe, and yet it's also innate to describe. So let's put this scenario in perspective. All right. So we have multidimensional extraterrestrials that are also multidimensional, and they're aware of their self that also has multidimensionality with them, and within them, meaning that they can create or within them is stars, and that they can manifest from the stars, and manifesting and attracting, law of attraction with the stars. What can occur is, for example, is the basis of physics, meaning it is innate to change the physics of consciousness. You change the consciousness of the physical self, meaning you change everything as the physical, meaning you change in your excuse me. The rate, for example, or the speed or the velocity of development is quite unparalleled. The capabilities are literally unlimited, and that's partly because it's important not to infringe on the free will, for example, of physical beings. Physical beings, for example, that are in process of incarnating in higher dimensional realities. But it's also, this is so tremendous that the amount of progress, for example, that is made is exponential. So where am I getting at? Just technology, of course, it already exists. The oneness that exists on planet Earth, yes, it already exists. We enhance that oneness because enhancing that oneness enhances, which is why, for example, I'm not even going to mention the C word. Actually, I should. But it's kind of like I shouldn't even bring up the thought form, but I'm not going to. We'll see what happens when I say, I'm not going to bring up the thought form. Because, first of all, if, for example, if I just speak this thought form, that means that certain reality exists, which means that the reality that's supposed to exist after that thought form should have already occurred, meaning, it should have already occurred. So meaning, I'm not going to speak that thought form yet. So I'm going to just go with the kind of obvious, or kind of the obvious kind of, change the subject where I go to very, very carefully speak upon the subject that I'm about to speak on. So assuming, which is what I'm going to do, something very interesting, I'm going to assume and, actually decree, for example, and, speech with truth, that there is new world, new earth, new positivity that is over, for example, that is in positive state of awareness as termed to, paradise and heaven on earth, there higher vibrational frequencies coming through, which is true. So more higher frequencies, especially coming from the galactic central sun, are just igniting Earth. And so positivity is the result. I'm just going straight to this. Positivity is the result. What I mean by positivity clearly is spent of the certain types of, for example, forms that are now positive. Now, I'm speaking really fast, so I'm going to slow it down. Previous forms of technology that were kept hidden, as well as were illegally retrieved, as well as were illegally patented and locked away, and is not known. Okay, let's put it in a more positive way. There is more technology than we can currently imagine, and there technology beyond which we can imagine, and there's technology which we can imagine, which is built to build technology which is beyond our imagination, syncing limitlessness with technology. There are paradisical realms of love, peace, order, consciousness, acceleration, and advancement going on. There is patience. There is dedication. There is devotion, and there is monetarization. Very close monetarization from some of the most advanced beings in the universe. We, as for example, are in good hands. One analogy is superconsciousness. Another one is of course, the consciousness that's coming through. The fact of the matter is, there's only acceleration and positivity on planet Earth, meaning peace, order, evolution, and elevation. Yes, indeed, human beings are actually evolving. Now, here is the amazing part, which is amazing. For example, if this wasn't supposed to happen, anyway, I'm going to be positive. This is, since we made, for example, I say since consciousness, human consciousness itself has made it this far, there is so much more potential. Once again, it is, quote, stepping to, and this is, I'm just helping, walking along through per se, but there's massive, change going on, of course. There's massive evolution, massive growth, and of course, massive awareness of the future, of positivity, and of love. This is your host, Christopher Mott Curtis Bowen, this evening edition of Fire Everybody. It is the 19th of October 2017. This is your host, your creative being, your conscious being of light, being of love, being of conscious evolution, super creative, multi-creationalistical creative being of light, being of love, as well as ambassador for planet Earth, ambassador for the universe, and the ambassador for the solar system and this galaxy, uniquely, subtly, and transformationally, being the anchor of light, being the unity of coherence, and being the the creator of many different many different higher consciousness anchorings of multidimensionality within these higher dimensions, as well as within, of course, because 5D does affect 3D, for example, as well as 7D affects 5D, and then going up 9D. So extremely high density, high dimensional, with quite a large amount of DNA activated, very, very high percentage. For example, just keep that awareness in mind. And of course, the limitless creational exponential ability of not only mastery in the self, but of course, what's the word? Mastery of Yodic evanescence, which of course still has ascension capabilities, and that's just an analogy per se, but of course the reality of the fact of the matter is. Anyway, this is your host, Chris Marker, this evening edition of Fire Everybody. Love you all. I love you all.